Between the Nintendo DS and Nintendo 3DS, Nintendo sold over 200 million pieces of that hardware. That's pretty incredible when you think about it, and it's host to many incredible games. And while there are certainly ways to play the excellent library of Nintendo DS and 3DS titles, some of these games could absolutely use a fresh makeover with some improvements to make a tad bit more modern. Remakes are nothing new to this industry, and as content is constantly remade, brought to new customers, and repurposed in all sorts of ways, some of them great, some of them not so much. But in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the key Nintendo DS and 3DS games that could use some modern sensibilities on the Nintendo Switch or systems going forward in the future. Let's start off with one of Nintendo's classic RPG series from the Nintendo DS and GBA, Golden Sun Dark Dawn. The Golden Sun franchise enjoyed some early success on the GBA, but the DS installment essentially put the franchise on ice for more than a decade now. Released back on November 29, 2010, Golden Sun Dark Dawn is a turn-based RPG developed by Camelot Software Planning and published by Nintendo for the Nintendo DS system. The game is set 30 years after the events of the first two titles, Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age. The plot has you following a path of the descendants from the previous games, which is pretty cool. I actually really like that aspect about the game. Now, you still have all the cool magic, weapons, and attacks like the previous games, but with a few key changes and 3D graphics the GBA just simply couldn't do. Now, Golden Sun Dark Dawn overall was received well with a 79 average on Metacritic, but that was well below the 91 and 86 scores of Golden Sun and Golden Sun: The Lost Age received on the GBA. All the games could use a remake or remaster, but Golden Sun Dark Dawn would probably fare the best getting a fresh coat of paint, considering how the sprites still kind of hold up from the GBA era, and with the Nintendo DS and Dark Dawn's 3D graphics, that leaves a little bit more to be worked upon. No more mixing up Matthew and Isaac going forward here, guys. Golden Sun Dark Dawn from the Nintendo DS needs a remake. Next up is Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. Now, when I purchased Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow brand new day one on my Nintendo DS Lite system, I was desperate for quality core titles in late 2005. It was like the desert out there for the Nintendo DS at that time, and I was thirsty for new titles. And I made the weirdest error whenever I talked about this game, calling it Dawn of Sorry mistakenly at multiple times, which is all the more terrible because this game is actually incredible and anything but sorry. Now, released on October 4th, 2005 by Konami, this is a straight up, no holds barred sequel to the GBA title Castlevania Area of Sorrow, which is also a phenomenal game, taking place 1 year after the events of that game. You once again play as Dracula's reincarnation, Soma Cruz, who I do like as a protagonist. But Konami upped the gameplay elements over the GBA title by adding unique, although a bit frustrating touch controls, constant map and/or inventory management with the second screen, which was incredibly useful for a game like Castlevania, and even a multiplayer mode where two players can compete for the fastest times while fighting enemies. The tactical soul system was back and better than ever, letting you absorb the souls of enemies, then use those abilities in battle. It truly is addicting. I love the battle system. With plenty of replay value, great graphics, and fun gameplay, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow still plays great today on the Nintendo DS. But with the DS long been discontinued and no official way to play the classics on modern hardware, a full remake would be ideal. Updating the graphics, removing the magic seal, touchscreen systems required for full boss battles, and fleshing out some of the mechanics would just be sick. I could see a remake doing extremely well on the Nintendo Switch platform and give players that classic Castlevania we've been asking for years, decades, not at this point. It's been a while since the last true 2D Castlevania game. Konami has already brought a lot of the classic titles over to modern platforms, and rumors say that there is a DS trilogy that could get its own release, but a full modern end remake of this title would be more hype for me and just more cool. Okay guys, I know, this is the Megaton, right? Chrono Trigger. This right here, my factory sealed copy of Chrono Trigger on the Nintendo DS, and yes, I also have a CIB Chrono Trigger on the Super Nintendo. It's beautiful, it's stunning, and simply perfect in every way. Which is exactly why Square Enix then remastered Chrono Cross and released it. But to be fair, because we like to be fair here on PlayerEssence, Chrono Cross is a fantastic game, and Square Enix finally got around to fixing the remaster's issues a year later. But we're here to discuss Chrono Trigger, my favorite RPG of all time, and why a modern remake would be needed. Now, originally released on August 11, 1995, the Nintendo DS version of the SNES Epic launched officially on November 25th, 2008 in North America, and February the following year in Europe. Now, featuring innovative features like the dual and triple tech system, Chrono Trigger is praised for its superb pacing, fantastic music, smooth controls, great writing, fantastic graphics, incredible art, active time battle system, and many other fantastic things, if I haven't already said fantastic multiple times in this. And it also added in a cool monster raising system exclusive to the Nintendo DS version of the game, although I think it might be in the PC version or not. I haven't played too much of that one because, the PC version. But let's keep it going here because Chrono Trigger just has everything that you would want. Now, like I was saying, continue with the fantastic stuff. Incredible art, active time battle system, and so many other things that will take me forever to get through. But by far, the most intriguing aspect of Chrono Trigger is the time-hopping story that sees you traveling to the future and the past to gain new allies, information, weapons, plot points, cutscenes. Oh man, it's just beautiful. The story is so good, it still holds up today, and a modern HD 2D remake with all the added DS, PS1, and PC content could make for a compelling package I would easily pay $60 for. I know some aren't keen on Chrono Trigger getting a remake when the original is pretty much perfect, but if Square Enix is spending money on things like this, I think they can fit a high-quality remake of the greatest RPG of all time out there for fans to enjoy. Next up, Radiant Historia. Now, the Nintendo DS generation saw many titles try to recapture the glory years of the 16-bit era that still holds true to this day, and its biggest star, obviously Chrono Trigger, we just talked about that. Now, Radiant Historia was one of those DS RPGs that wanted to capture the essence of the old school RPGs, but also added a whole new unique touch and gameplay mechanics. Released on February 22nd, 2011 in North America, and later as Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology for the Nintendo 3DS in 2018, this RPG was co-developed by industry RPG vets Atlus and Headlock. It also featured time-traveling mechanics, multiple story paths, free exploration, puzzle solving, in addition to fantastic combat. Battles triggered by running into enemies in the environment that are all visible, or you can preemptive attack them and then switch over to a brand new battle scene. The three-party team can employ a variety of attacks equipping spears, swords, shields, and more. Now, the grid-based battles adds a cool twist to the traditional turn-based battles. The character progression and story plot points were key standouts for me with Radiant Historia, and a modern remake would be quite radiant? Yes, pun intended here. You know we're on our Atlus kick because we gotta mention Shin Megami Tensei 4. Now, another great RPG, another one made by those madmen over at Atlus. Shin Megami Tensei 4 is not the easiest name to pronounce, nor is the gameplay. It features tough dungeons, bosses, and hardcore RPG gameplay that just gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside that I probably shouldn't be having. Released on July 16, 2014, and over a year later in Europe for some weird reason, Shin Megami Tensei 4 is pretty much peak SMT when it comes to storytelling and writing, weaving a superb narrative that had me questioning the very fabric of existence in our world. Players are tasked with recruiting demons to fight alongside you, all while fusing those demons to create even more powerful demons, many of which are from worldwide lore and historical figures. The graphics for Nintendo 3DS game are great, but for today's standards, things are looking a bit crusty. Combat fortunately still holds up thanks to Atlus's revolutionary press turn system that allows you to exploit enemy weaknesses using a variety of magic to get extra turns in combat. Now watch out though, your foes can also exploit your team's weaknesses and wipe you out faster than you can say Kazuyuki Yamai. After the incredible success of Shin Megami Tensei 5 selling over 1 million units on the Nintendo Switch in less than half a year, I don't think we'll have to wait too much longer for Atlus to bring Shin Megami Tensei 4 remade, as SMT 3 is already on modern systems, and the SMT team has been working on a secret project for a while now. I wonder what they're up to.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
You can't talk about Nintendo DS or 3DS games and not mention Kid Icarus Uprising for the Nintendo 3DS. Masahiro Sakurai. That's all that needs to be said, right? Well, no, but you get my drift. Kid Icarus Uprising was directed by the legendary Super Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai. His influence is dripping all over this game. Now, released back on March 23rd, 2012, players were treated to a big, vibrant, colorful menus with sleek character design, classic Super Smash Bros. Masahiro style. Kid Icarus Uprising might be the most deserving of a modern end remake of this whole list, honestly. The story has you playing as Pit 25 years after the first game, when the goddess of darkness Medusa is resurrected and begins to wreak havoc on the world. Palutena then entrusts Pit to take down Medusa's forces by any means necessary. It's a simple plot, but it does get more complex as you fight classic and new enemies, plus team up with new characters. The title features a unique combat loop that's half third-person shooter with Star Fox-themed sky shooting segments, and half third-person action game with full 3D combat, combos, weapon customization, and even a little bit of platforming. The game also features a nice 3-on-3 multiplayer that was a lot of fun considering the limitations of the Nintendo 3DS hardware. Yes, this game is fantastic, but there are some glaring issues. One being the controls. The game came packed with a stand for more comfortable play using the stylus, since the Nintendo 3DS didn't have a second analog stick, and Sakurai stated that the game didn't have enough power or resources left to use the second analog nub when that became available on the new Nintendo 3DS. So naturally, this created all sorts of wacky control schemes players had to try to figure out, and ultimately ended up hurting the game's review scores and sales. While still scoring a respectable 83 average on Metacritic, the game was universally docked points for its control scheme. If it utilized a dual analog setup, I think it would have probably rated in the 90s and sold much better. As 2012 to 2015 saw the Nintendo 3DS system's sales and library greatly expand, Masahiro Sakurai himself threw a whole bucket of gasoline on the rumors of Kid Icarus Uprising remake or remaster when he publicly supported a modern re-release with new controls. Let's hope there's something to those rumors. Next up is Fire Emblem Awakening. Okay, I know Nintendo is currently finished or working on the Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War, Fire Emblem 4 remake for the Nintendo Switch, or Switch 2, or both. But at the rate that we're getting remakes of Fire Emblem games, it's going to take like 20 years to get to the game that saved the Fire Emblem franchise, at least in the US for the most part. Fire Emblem Awakening. So I'm proposing Nintendo momentarily skips other Fire Emblem remakes after Fire Emblem 4, as they are going in order, and makes Fire Emblem Awakening next. Then circle back and remake the games in whatever order they want to remake them. Well, this is unlikely to happen, guys. Fire Emblem Awakening could possibly be the most important Fire Emblem game of all time, especially considering if it didn't sell at least 250,000 copies, we might have never gotten another Fire Emblem game. Now, released back on February 4, 2013 in the US, Fire Emblem Awakening is an epic strategy RPG that features a wide range of fun gameplay elements, team-up attacks, romantic pairings for future children, a customizable avatar Robin, casual and classic modes, which was a first for the series, by the way. Casual mode allowed killed units to come back after the battle ends, instead of forever being lost if they were to fall in battle. There's also multiple difficulty levels: normal, hard, lunatic, and a special lunatic plus mode if you're lucky or good enough to beat the lunatic mode in this game. Now, all the cool aspects of previous Fire Emblem games are absolutely retained here. The classic unit-based battles with the classic weapon triangle that makes Fire Emblem so good and pretty much famous for. What I love about Fire Emblem Awakening so much is the story was so perfectly paced, the cutscenes, the emotional timing, everything was just on point. Also, the music was absolutely incredible, and the gameplay was so addictive and snappy. So many units to level up, upgrade, equip, test out new strategies. The core gameplay is still awesome and would look incredible on modern hardware. But that's gonna wrap it up for my video talking about DS and 3DS games that absolutely need a remake. But I know that there are so many more Nintendo DS and 3DS games out there that could absolutely use some modern touches to it. So if you have any games that you want me to cover or talk about next, drop a comment below and let me know what 3DS games or DS games you would like to see on the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch 2, modern systems. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell. We will see you in the next video. Peace.